What up, boys, and welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about the War Within, gold making, what I think has been good with the War Within, and what I think has a lot of room for improval when it comes to gold making, of course. So before we kick that off, big thank you for all the support during the War Within on the 0 to 10 million gold guide. It's been absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying it. This gold guide has been a project that I've been working on and constantly improving for over 4 years now, and it now features every single tactic and method that I personally use in order to achieve hundreds of millions of gold. The best part is that you, once you get the gold guide, receives every single update for free as I'm doing them automatically sent to your mail. So by getting it, you never have to worry about the gold guide being outdated for the next expansion. I'm going to update it for that expansion as well, completely for free. So don't forget to use the discount code STUDENT with the link down below in the description. Now, when it comes to the expansion as a whole, War Within, before I'm going to dive a little bit into the issues of gold making in the War Within, I do want to say that the War Within as an expansion outside of gold making, I think is absolutely great. I really, really do. I've had a lot of fun, and I think my favorite aspect or a new feature in the War Within is war bands. Probably the same opinion as everyone else watching this video, but just war bands and everything being war bound, the fact that you do like a weekly quest on your main or on your alt, whatever you want to do it on, and you reap the benefits and the rewards on your entire account, like just being having the same renown level on older the tunes that you're playing on, gearing up, like everything is super smooth, and it doesn't feel like you have to do as many chores as you've had to do in previous expansions. The only thing that kind of feels like a chore right now is running delves. I feel like that got kind of outdated, which we will come back to in a bit in this video. So the expansion outside of gold making, absolutely great. When it comes to gold making and the downfall of gold making in this current state of the War Within, I think that War Within is absolutely horrible. Now, for a couple of reasons for gold farming and gold making in War Within being horrible, I don't like the artisan acuity shuffling that you have to do for professions. Like, right now, it's hard enough to make a profit with most professions doing most of the crafts, right? And if you're, let's call it a casual guy, like the average dude to try and make gold with profession, they're probably not even aware of artisan acuity shuffles, where you're picking up professions, doing tips and tricks in order to acquire artisan acuity, and then you drop that profession to pick up the next profession, and you do a whole bunch of stuff in order to get more artisan acuity with that profession until you eventually pick up the profession that you're planning on having on that tune. Just so you have enough artisan acuity to craft blue tools and profession equipment, and use artisan acuity to purchase the knowledge books off the vendor. I think it's a horrible system. Blizzard should have shut that down ages ago. So that's I'm not much of a crafter in WoW. I like to craft old like content transmog, but in terms of current content transmog, I don't really mind it that much, but it also impacts gathering professions, which I really do like. But on those as well, if you want to have an herbalist and mining tune, you should firstly pick up other professions, crafting professions, to be able to get artisan acuity, and then later on pick up mining and herbalism so you can afford all the blue tools and the knowledge books, etc. I just think it's a very, very bad system. When it comes to gold farming in the War Within, I think ever since Dragonflight, it's Blizzard has been taking a step in the wrong direction. And sure, you could say like, boo hoo, keep whining, like you don't have enough gold farms at your disposal, but it affects more people than you first initially think. Because if we look at an expansion like BFA, for instance, in BFA, you had open world epic items. It was a blast. I know people that never cared about gold farming that still went out in the open world to farm BOE epics because it was exciting, it was fun, it was that element of RNG. Maybe they wanted a specific upgrade themselves, but they didn't want to spend a ton of gold on the auction house buying it. And even if they didn't get the one that they personally wanted to use, they could sell whatever they received and take that gold to buy whichever BOE they were after. It was absolutely great. At the same time in BFA, you also had zone-specific mounts. And if you were a gold farmer, if you were a collector, doesn't matter. The mounts, farming the open world mounts was absolutely a blast. It was a lot of fun. It's also evergreen content. Like, still to this day, you see people going back to BFA to farm these mounts, either for personal use in their collection or for selling. There was just way more RNG in BFA, in Legion, even in Shadowlands, you had way more RNG. So you found yourself, from a gold farming perspective, doing current content gold farms for way longer than you did in Dragonflight and in the War Within currently right now. Dragonflight at least had some secret mounts where you would farm like the Tuskar Jerky, the Nolan's House Special, the Flash Frozen Meat to buy the in order to get the secret mount. You had the Magma Shell mounts. But outside of that, very little RNG in Dragonflight as well. The biggest RNG you would do is whenever you were doing like a cloth farm, and if you had knowledge points spec into enchanting, you could get like items to disenchant for enchanting materials. And for like the first week or two, that was exciting because you always wanted to get the epic ones. You can disenchant to get epic disenchanting material and sell that for a decent amount of gold, but it can't be measured with the element of RNG that we've had in previous expansions. And if you think about it, Dragonflight was the first expansion to ever be implemented in WoW without open world epic items. And I get why they did it, because they wanted to force people to use the new crafting system in WoW and place a work order, etc. But I just think that you can have the crafting order and new profession system, and at the same time have open world BOEs. And like right now, we have like epic BOE items from raids, right? People still use the crafting system and the crafting orders, and I think it will be exactly the same if we had open world epic items. So the current state of War Within Goldmaking right now is pretty depressing. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I'm getting a lot of questions, or have been getting a lot of questions ever since I've been slowly moving back into old content gold farming. Because the last drop was when the current favorite way of making gold in the War Within, running delves, took an absolute nerf, where they went from like first 12,000 gold down to like 7,000 gold. And I knew that 12,000 gold wasn't sustainable. I even made a video about it, how it was going to be nerfed. It did get nerfed, and they dropped down to like 5, 6, 7,000 gold. Sure, that was still fine. It was still a lot of fun to run delves, because every single time you finished a delve, you had that element of RNG when you opened up a chest, like, will I get tinder boxes? Will I get a double drop? Etc. It was fun. And then Blizzard completely destroyed it by allowing you to purchase tinder boxes with other various reagents. So it just made running delves completely worthless from a gold farming perspective. And if you compare it to something else like BFA, BFA is used in a lot of these examples, I realize that now. But look at Island Expedition. Island Expedition still to this day is used because people want to farm transmog, battle pets, and mounts. So people do it for personal collections, and people like myself, do it to sell the transmog and sell the battle pets. It's evergreen content. Dragonflight, War Within, not so much. I just think Delves was a missed opportunity. They could have done so many things to Delves. They could have had like one mount in each zone from Delves, for instance, with a low drop chance. They could have had way more battle pets, way rarer battle pets. Could have had unique BOE gear, like collectibles instead of BOP ones. So that was like the last drop that was like, okay, so what farms do we really have left to do now? And if you look at the different prices, And I will say this, mining and herbalism is still considered decent. It's just that people are used to making 120,000 gold an hour doing mining and herbalism. And now when it's down to like 50, 60,000 gold an hour, people are like, meh, this sucks. But trust me, in a couple of weeks slash months, people are going to be like, God damn, I should have done it more when it was making me 50,000 gold an hour. Because that is the direction that the game is heading to right now. So herbalism mining is fine, but like I've enough gold. I don't need gold. And herbalism and mining is fun to some degree, but it's not something you can sit around and do all day or even do for multiple hours upon ends. Like at least I can't. And that leaves us with claw farms, which is they're just bad. You can do old content farms that will yield you way higher gold per hour than doing any claw farm. And then when we were talking about skinning farms, which is probably, as I'm recording this video, still the best way in the war within to make gold. If you do like the wolves and the beasts right here in Isle of Dorn, we did that a couple of days ago from this video recording, and we still made over 100,000 gold doing skinning and herbalism. So for me, that means if I want to farm gold, and we're not talking about making gold with crafting, like using professions to make gold outside of gathering professions, but that kind of leaves me with, if I want to chill and do a solo farm, I got to do herbalism and mining. If I want to go for like the highest yielding gold per hour, I got to do that same skinning spot that I've been doing for weeks upon weeks now. And it's just it gets dull. The expansion lacks the element of RNG, and that transitions into evergreen content as well in future expansions. You want to give people a reason to go back into these zones, right? And the War Within and Dragonflight is pretty bad on that point. So as I'm seeing it right now, I'm finding way more value and way higher gold per hour running old content farms when prices have gone up on the gold per hour and the old content farms, and then running the same old War Within farms. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Will it change? Will prices go up? I don't think, like, you might see some spikes in on certain materials, but I don't think, I think for the most part it's going to be downhill from this point on. And then the only thing that would truly save it is whenever we get a new season or a new patch with new crafts or whatever. But as of right now, it's pretty dull. I also have like little faith in Blizzard adding like a new zone with new materials, like we saw with Nasyatar. Once again, BFA, but also like with Shadowlands, right? With Seraph Mortis, where Blizzard were like, okay, new 0.5 zone, a bunch of new collectibles, and even new materials. You can do herbalism and mining, new mats. You can do skinning, new mats. But ever since we got the new crafting systems, like when you have to spec into certain individual materials, it kind of makes sense as well. Like Blizzard will most definitely not add a new tab that will where you can spend knowledge point into whatever new material with herbalism mining or skinning that they add in the new patch. So I really doubt that. I think they're going to do just like they did with Emerald Dream and Dragonflight. The materials aren't going to change. You're going to add a new zone, new mobs, maybe some catch-up BOE gear, which did pretty well in Dragonflight, but the materials are going to be exactly the same, and that's going to be it. So that's pretty much my take on the War Within. I think it's a good expansion. It's absolutely great from a gold farming perspective, though. It's not much to brag about, sadly, while I think, and I've truly enjoyed every single expansion. I did enjoy Dragonflight as well, but I only enjoyed doing Dragonflight farms for a very short time period, and the same thing now with the War Within. But luckily, for every expansion we get, that means there's another like expansion considered old content. So there is, even in Dragonflight, a couple of gold farms that's starting to go up in value and giving us a higher gold per hour. So 5 expansions down the line, we're obviously going to find ourselves at some point where it's going to be worth going to Dragonflight, the War Within, etc. For a couple of gold farms. So I like the world of old content gold farms because you just have like so many different ways at your disposal to make gold, which is a lot of fun. And that's not something that we currently have with the current content. So please let me know what you think about all of this down below in the comment section. I would like to see if I'm the only one feeling this way or if there's more people out there feeling the same way as me. But with that being said, that's pretty much it for today's video. So thank you all so much for watching it. Don't forget to check out the 0 to 10 million gold guide linked in the description, and I will see you all back in at tomorrow's video. But until then, bye bye.